Okay, ready to go then? Flip it on if you can hear me. She's saying she can't hear the volume downstairs, but. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. I don't know how much Laura can speak. Good evening and welcome to Council Monday, November 12th, 2019. Hope everybody had a great holiday yesterday, ones who did have them. And we're not sure if you can hear us at home, but just in case, our microphones are having a bit of difficulty, and that's why we got a wide screen right now. Our system's having a little bit of technical difficulties. So with that being said, I call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. And as always, I ask everybody to shut off and silence their mobile devices so we don't have interruption in the meeting. And get into our municipal safety share, flu prevention, and Councillor Blanchette is going to give us an overview of that.
Influenza, or the flu, is a serious contagious disease that can lead to hospitalization or even death. In 2009 to 2010, a new and different flu virus called 2009 H1N1 spread worldwide, causing the first flu pandemic in more than 40 years. The flu is unpredictable, but the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, expects the 2009 H1N1 virus to spread this upcoming season along the other seasonal flu viruses. The CDC urges you to take the following actions to protect yourself and others from influenza. CDC recommends a yearly flu vaccine as the first and most important step in protecting against flu viruses. While there are many different flu viruses, the flu vaccine protects against the 3 viruses that research suggests will be most common. The 2010 to 2011 flu vaccine will protect against an influenza A H3N2 virus, an influenza B virus, and the 2009 H1N1 virus that caused so much illness last season. Everyone 6 months of age and older should get vaccinated against the flu as soon as the 2010 to 2011 season vaccine is available. People at high risk of serious flu complications include young children, pregnant women, people with chronic health conditions like asthma, diabetes, or heart and lung disease, and people over 65 years and older. Vaccination of high-risk persons is especially important to decrease their risk of severe flu illness. Vaccination is also important for healthcare workers and other people who live with or care for high-risk people to keep them from spreading flu to high-risk people. Children younger than 6 months are at high risk of serious flu illness but are too young to be vaccinated. People who care for them should be vaccinated instead. So cover your nose and mouth with a tissue when you cough or sneeze. Throw the tissue in the trash after you use it. Do not reuse. Wash your hands often with soap and water. If soap and water are not available, use an alcohol-based hand rub. This is especially important after you go out in public and do things such as touch shopping carts, touch staircase handrails, shake hands, utilize common areas or items such as restrooms or hand tools. Wash your hands or utilize hand sanitizer before and after eating or smoking. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Germs spread this way.
Well, thank you for that, and hopefully nobody gets the flu this season. Stay healthy. Okay. Any additions or deletions to the agenda this evening? Hearing none. I have a motion that council hereby accepts the agenda for Tuesday, November 12, 2019, regular meeting of council, circulated amended. Moved by Councillor Lake, second by Councillor Valance. Questions? Hearing none, call question, all in favor? Thank you. Any disclosure of interest this evening? Councillor Gingras.
Yeah, I have disclosure of interest on items 13A and B.
Okay, duly noted. Anything else? Hearing none. That's good. I have a motion here that council hereby adopts the minutes of the regular meeting of council were held on Monday, October 28th, 2019, and the closed meeting of council were held on Monday, October 28th, 2019, as circular amended. Moved by Councilor Val, second by Councilor Lake. Any questions, errors, omissions, those minutes? Hearing none, call a question, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Student council reports. Councilor Blanchette's gonna give us an update what's happening over in their world.
Thursday and Friday of this week, the girls' senior basketball team is going to Atacocan to play best of 3. And in town, Marathon High School is hosting the boys' senior volleyball. Thursday, 10 a.m., Marathon versus Thomas Aquinas from Kenora. At 1 p.m., Thomas Aquinas versus what is it? Lavarandre in Thunder Bay. And 7 p.m. is Marathon versus Lavarandre. And on Friday, at 9 a.m. is the championship, and the public is open to come.
Good, thank you for that. And Councilor Hatton is not with us this evening, so we'll look for his report on their next council meeting. Up next, we have C report. Mr. Skorczynski, a verbal update on the Active Living funding application.
So just a verbal report, Your Worship and Council, but we have submitted our application officially to the Canada-Ontario Infrastructure Fund as of Sunday. It has been accepted, and we've been given our file number, which means it's been officially received by the province. So the process now is it'll be checked for completeness over the next month to make sure we haven't missed any items. From there, it'll go to the evaluation stage at the provincial level. Right now, they're targeting February of 2020. I imagine we'll probably hear more of an update at Roma with respect to the process. Then the way the process works is the province nominates projects they believe are eligible and worthy of funding to the federal government. The federal government then undertakes their review. That's expected to be completed in the summer of 2020. And then realistically, if we're successful, we'll likely know the fall of 2020 with respect to our application.
Well, any questions of that? Councilor Lake?
That's wonderful that it's in. A sense of, I mean, if everything went well, shovels in the ground, what could we be looking for? Best case scenario.
I think realistically, we would look to tender early in 2021. Award the tender at some point during that year. And I think best case scenario, you know, I think we're a little ahead of the game, obviously, from a geotechnical perspective because the site is serviced. Late 2021, early 2022, of course, that's going to have to meet up with when Nextbridge and Ballard move out. But I think we're on our timeline, which was 4 years from the date of submission.
Anything else? As you made mention, the Roma conference will have an update, I'm hoping, from the application process. I don't imagine there's any more need at this point. Well, there's no need to lobby in regards to the ministry's different departments for the application process.
Yeah, I think, you know, once we know a little bit more in terms of, you know, the process unfolding, I think then it makes sense that we look at that.
Okay. I think we still contact our federal rep and identify that we've submitted the application so that they're aware of it, and or she is, and then this brings that forward to the body that will be reviewing if we do go from the provincial to the federal level of acceptance. Okay, thank you for that. No check runs. We have up next, we have unfinished business, and this is where Councillor Ingral has declared an interest on 13A, report of the Marathon Theatre lease. Good evening, Serena.
Good evening, Your Worship, Council. So in May of 2018, the municipality entered into a lease agreement with the operators of the Gingras Girls Odeum Theatre for a 4-year lease period to offer theatre and concession services at the Town of Marathon Recreation Complex. The key terms of the agreement were rent of $1,300 per month when the arena is open, August and including March, $1,000 per month when the arena is closed, April 2 and including July, from August 1st, 2018 to July 31st, 2022. Taxes are included in the monthly rent. Hydro is payable at $750 per month, and the hours of operation remain similar to previous years. Administration has been in discussion with Gingras Girls Odeum Theatre since November of 2018 regarding a number of fiscal challenges that were initially not predicted. These include reduced number of minor hockey tournaments and figure skating events, an increased cost of movie showings due to unforeseen industry fees. Administration and Gingras Girls Odeum Theatre have agreed upon a revised rent and utility structure for the theatre and concession lease agreement. The revised structure will support the lessee while ensuring that this valuable community service is maintained going forward. The proposed revised rent and utility is as follows. Rent of $650 per month when the ice is in, $400 per month when ice is out, and $0 per month when the ice is out and pool is closed and the theater and concession is closed in July. Utilities of $400 per month when the ice is in, $250 per month when the ice is out, and $0 when the ice is out and the pool is closed and the theater closes in July. The revised fee structure will result in an annualized revenues of $11,000. This amounts to a reduction of $12,400 per year compared to the original agreement. Our options are A, enter into a revised lease agreement with the Gingras Girls Odeum Theatre for a period of 2019 to 2022, or do not enter into the amended lease agreement. Your administration recommends option A be selected and that the town enter into a revised lease agreement with the Gingras Girls Odeum Theatre for the operation of the Marathon Theatre and concession, and that the appropriate bylaw be adopted.
Thank you for that report. I do have a motion here that council hereby accepts the attached report and recommendation on the Marathon Theatre and Arena Concession Services amended lease agreement, and that council approve the revised lease agreement with the Gingras Girls Odeum Theatre for the operation of the Marathon Theatre and Arena Concession, for that the appropriate bylaw be adopted later this evening. Moved by Councilor Lake, second by Councilor Debussy. Questions? Councilor Lake.
Yeah, certainly. I appreciate the line where you say it's a valuable community service and we want it going forward. I certainly appreciate administration being willing to work with the lessees to try to get things done. I think it is an important service in the community, and certainly, yeah, I appreciate administration's dogged tenacity in making it kind of work, so thank you.
Councilor Debussy.
Yeah, considering that the financial, I'll say, situation has changed, moving forward, I don't want to see this come back if things change again. Is there an escape clause for both parties through the duration of this contract? Because I don't want to keep revisiting this if finances change or whatever. It's just, I wanted to know if there was an escape clause either for both parties or ourselves.
Yeah, the landlord or the tenant both have the ability to terminate the agreement with 90 days written notice.
Okay. Anything else? So in this new agreement, with the reconsideration of the rents, actually, Council Lake is 100% reassuring that we want to continue to keep that facility open and viable for all residents of the community, encourage more residents to use the facility as well. As you understanding the facility is open anyway, as a reduction in your hydro costs are there, it's not going to be reflective as a huge loss in regards to the municipality. The lights are on anyway when the arena is open and the pool is open. One key question was the use agreement around the other facilities for exclusivity. Thank you. Have you resolved that issue with the lessee?
I'm not going to say, honestly, if we've resolved it.
Okay.
Administration has written a language which we believe is both supportive of the tenant
Okay.
as well as meets the needs of the municipality, and I'm happy to read it out for council. The exclusivity clause was always in place to ensure that the tenant had the availability for organized events. So that's the way that administration has worded it and has presented it to the tenant. So exclusive use of concession services, the tenant will have exclusive rights to food beverage services for the following only: events utilizing the multi-purpose room with a special occasions permit, organized hockey tournaments, organized figure skating competitions, organized mine rescue competitions, and organized swim meets. Organizers will not have the ability to sell food or beverage during these events or contract out these services. Organizers will be required to notify the tenant of the event prior to it taking place so schedules can be coordinated. The tenant will be required to notify the event organizer of their ability to deliver the service required for the event, along with food and beverage options.
It does sound fair, but if the ability of the tenant is not there to meet the requirements of the lessee of the facility for a specific exclusive event, is there a clause in there that they can go outside of that?
then we would have the ability as the landlord to be able to dictate that they can go outside of that service.
So that means we're gonna be in the middle of a tenant, user agreement from time to time if they're not satisfied with the.
We would always liaise anyway,
Okay.
right? So we'd always try and find the happy medium. But in the event that, there was a disagreement, ultimately as the landlord, we would be the referee.
Okay, as long as that's clear in regards to their lease. Okay, anything else? Great. So with that being said, I'll call a question, all in favor? Thank you. If you wouldn't mind tapping on the door and you want by, or Kelly, thank Councilor DeBussy. Oh, second, so wait, yeah, we gotta do the bylaws anyway, sorry, thank you. Sorry, my mistake. Bylaw number 1944 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 1926 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of the agreement between the town of Marathon and Jingra Girls Odeum Theatre for the operation of the Marathon Theatre and Arena concessions for a 4-year period from August 1, 2019 to July 31st, 2022. Be read a first and second time this 12th day of November 2019. Moved by Councilor DeBussy, second by Councilor Lake. Any questions on that? All in favor? There, thank you. And of course, bylaw number 1944 be read a third time and finally passes 12th day of November 2019. Moved by Councilor Lake, seconded by Councilor DeBussy. Questions on that? Hearing none, call a question. All in favor? Okay, now you can contact Councilor Gingras. Thank you. Okay, new business has been received from the Township of Schreiber in regards to the library services. As everybody's had the opportunity to read this, there's no need to read the whole motion. The key motion is, whereas it is now clear that the provincial cuts Ontario Library Services will impact the programs and services beyond library, the interlibrarian loan program, the diminished capacity of the OLS North to deliver those programs will negatively impact our public libraries, and we believe that even programs and services that are maintained will operate at a reduced capacity due to extensive personal cuts. So that's the main key of the actual motion. Any comments in there? I'll get a mover second to put on the floor. Councilor Lake, second to Councilor Gingras. Councilor Lake, you got comments or question?
You know what, it's been a long time since I've been on the library board, but I remember using OLS a great deal. Maybe Councilor Tabushi, who's currently there.
Councilor Gingras.
Might want to speak to that better than me.
Absolutely. So when I was first coming onto the library board is when these cuts were starting already. So one of my very first meetings were about how these cuts would affect our local library. So I know the biggest concern from the Marathon Library was about support for things like website and training on some of the new technology that they were getting lots of that support from Ontario Library Service North. They also had a member from there pop in once or twice a year to share best practices and give some advice on how to keep our library up to date and current and up with the standards. So I would certainly say we should be supporting this from our library standpoint.
Anything else? Councilor Debussy.
Yeah, because I was the previous library representative. Is the current cuts going to reflect on their submissions for the 2020 budget?
They're currently working on their budget. With their CEO's been away, so I don't know exactly what their budget they'll be presenting to us will be yet. I would think it probably would reflect a little bit, but I can't say for sure until that process is done.
Anything else? Well, with that being said, we will obviously call the question in regards to this, but I think it's a motion that we agree that our libraries could be impacted. It'd be nice to have more impact and discussion around this with the library board. But with our member, I think we can hear that there will be some effects on our library. So I think it's a fair opportunity to look at this as a favorable motion to support from the municipality of Schreiber. But that being said, I'll call the question. All in favor? Good, thank you, carried. And excuse me, the second approval of reports received by all members. Okay, there's I don't know what that is, but there's a closed meeting directly following the council meeting to discuss personal matters and identify individuals, including municipal, local boards or employees, acquisition or dispositions of lands. We will then go to adjournment of this meeting at 7:20, moved by Council DeBouche, second by Council Lake, and to a closed meeting of council directly after that. Thank you very much and have a good night. Short and sweet. Not the quickest, but pretty quick. Helen, sorry, Luke, Luke, I know you wanted to put your hand up, but we don't take any questions or comments from the audience during council. You can do a deputation anytime you want, just get a hold